Hello class! Today we're going to do a directed art lesson. We're going to be focusing on line. We're going to draw a turtle and then we're going to add some line designs to that. The materials you're going to need today are a piece of paper, a pencil, black markers. I suggest a thick marker and a thin marker. We also want to start by talking about what do I mean by line. A line is when you connect 2 points in space. Generally, a line will be straight, but you can also have angled lines. You can have fat lines, you can have skinny lines, and you can even have curving lines. So we're going to be using all of those today when we design our turtle. All right, let's get started. Okay. All right, with your paper, you want to think about where you're going to start. You want to start closer to the left-hand side of your paper with the shell. We're going to be starting with a curving line. You're going to go up and over, and you're going to finish about here. You want to leave about 2 inches of space to the right side so that you can fit in the head of your turtle. Now, we're going to close that arc with another arc below it. So start at the back again and curve to the front. This time your arc's going to be a little smaller. Now you have the top of the turtle shell. A turtle is not a flat object. A turtle is a real life animal, so it has 3 dimensions. So we're going to add a little detail to make it look 3-dimensional. Start at the back of your turtle and get a little small arc out and do that same arc at the front of the turtle's shell. Okay. And now we're going to connect below that. Now you have the turtle's upper shell, and then you have that little ridge line normally where we start to curve into the lower shell of the turtle. Now, we've seen turtle shells. Turtle shells are not just blank or bare. They have a lot of texture to them. They have a lot of design. So we're going to take our shell and we're going to break it into different sections. Again, we're going to be using a lot of curving lines here. Maybe you want to think of puzzle pieces. That might help you with your shell breakup or your sectioning of the shell. So we're just going to go along a section of shell, then do another section of shell. You don't want them to be too small because we're going to be drawing inside of these sections here and designing these. Just want to keep these sections broad. Just puzzle piece it together, go up. If you want to stop there, you can come down with another one. Look at the space you have left. Say, oh, maybe about 3 more puzzle pieces. And come over here. Whoops, make sure they connect. If you look at this and you think that section's too big, you can always come in and make it smaller. All right, now you have your turtle shell, the back of it, with its sections. And we're going to move into the different parts of the turtle before we design the actual shell. We're going to start with the tail, because the tail is nice and simple. Go to the back of your turtle shell, give us a nice arc, and then reverse it. Keep it nice and small. Okay. Now we're going to do the leg. You want to give a little space here because the leg doesn't start right at the tail. You want to come forward a little bit. You're going to start a little bit narrow and then you're going to kind of widen out as you go. You're going to leave a little space. You're going to come forward and you're going to come down. And again, notice how I kind of widen as I come down. So we want this section to be wider here and this section to be more narrow. And then this is the bottom of its flipper. And we're going to just kind of wiggle that over to finish that leg. Let's come forward to the front of our shell. We have our front leg. This one's going to have a little bit more of a curve. We're going to start a little bit back because we want to leave some room for the head. Come back for the foot. Kind of come down and curve forward a little. Okay. And then again, leave some space so you can do the back side of that leg. And copy or kind of mimic that, but leave it a little wider. So again, we want this space to be just a touch wider. If it doesn't work, you can always come in and erase and resketch that part. And then just like with the back leg, we're going to finish off the little flipper. All right, we're getting there. Remember what I said about a turtle not being a flat object? It's three-dimensional. So now we're going to have to add a little bit of the belly or the underside of the shell to give this turtle some three-dimensionality. And then we'll finish up with our head. So start at the tail and come toward the leg, the back leg, leaving some space. It's not a lot of space. You're just going to see a hint of the bottom of the shell. And then we're going to jump over that back leg. Don't draw across it because that leg is in front of the shell. Pick it up on this side, follow that same curve all the way over to the front leg. Stop. And we're going to wait on this front section here because it's going to depend on how big our head ends up being. We might need to add a little bit of the front shell here depending on where the neck of the turtle starts. Okay. This bottom part of the turtle shell does not have the same sectioning as the top. Down here, we usually just have these straight curving lines that curve it into sections. So you want to come back in and add those. Okay, and that has now the look of the bottom of the turtle shell. Okay, almost finished with the outside design of our turtle. We're going to go for the head. The head is going to start right here, just at the bottom of that designed and sectioned part of your shell. And we're seeing kind of that extra curving part. We're going to go up and over, kind of like a reverse candy cane. Come on down, and then we're going to jump in for a mouth, come back out, and then we're going to come down, and we're going to curve back toward the bottom of the shell, and we're going to come in and touch the bottom of the shell. So you can see, depending on where your neck stops, you might have to continue that bottom part of the shell there to get those to meet. And then you can put in a line to section that part. Our eye is going to be really simple. It's just going to be an arc. Okay, going over, and then one coming out and under, and you can give it little eyelashes if you want to. So that's the outside of our tortoise or our turtle. Now what we're going to do is we're going to think back to those lines from earlier. Remember straight lines, angled lines, thick lines, thin lines, curving lines. You can even include circles. A circle is not a line, but it is connected points all the way around. So we can use those as well. Each section of your turtle should be designed in a different way. I want you really experimenting and trying out the different styles of lines that you can create. Thick, thin, angled, curving. And I want you to be really creative. But in one section, you're going to stick to that pattern or that design for that whole section of the shell. So say on this one, I decide to do circles. The circles can be different sizes. They don't all have to be large. They can be medium and small. Some of them can go off the side of the shell because we're only designing this section of our shell right now. And you want to fill in that section, not completely so there's no space, but so that it feels finished or complete. Remember what I've told you in class before. White is a purposeful color in art. Things should not be white when we're finished unless they're meant to be white, like an eyeball or snow. As you move to a new section, since you've done curving lines here, creating a circle, you might go for angled or straight lines here. I'm going to switch to a thicker pen so that you can get an idea of what the difference is between those thin lines and those thick lines. Here, I'm going to go for a combination, whoops, the pen has a little extra there, of kind of those angled lines. I can always go back and go back over that. and I'm going to kind of mimic that. It's a pattern. I should be doing it the same way for this section. It won't be perfectly symmetrical or exact, but I should be repeating the style of line, the width of my line, and the angle or the straightness of my line. Okay. All right, I'm going to pause there for just a moment, and I'm going to show you a turtle that has some more sections finished, because I want you to be creative and I want you to design your tortoise or your turtle. I don't want it to look just like mine. All right, give me a moment while I switch out my papers. All right, here you can see my turtle that I worked on earlier today. I have circles or dots. They're actually filled in. If you fill it in, it's called a dot. If you leave it open, it's called a circle. I have wavy lines. I have angled lines. I have lines that are close together. I have spiraling lines. I have rectangles. Down here on my legs, I made the legs with the same design. So I want you to really be creative. I want you to take the time to go over it in black marker when you're finished, so that the designs really stand out. But when you're all finished, you can go back in and you can color each section of your turtle lightly so that your design still really pops out. That's why it's important that you've gone over your design with your black markers, thin or thick. It's up to you. You can just color lightly. I know some of my friends don't love to color. Okay. You don't have to do them all the same color. You can alternate your colors. You can look for colors that go together. Remember, we learned about the color wheel. If you did the tropical bird exercise already, you remember primary colors and secondary colors. So I might stick to my blues and my greens. And then I might transition into my yellows. Here I can go around my shapes and I can go back if I want and I can color those shapes in black. Or this might be a case where I intentionally want something to be white. My rectangles are white with a yellow background. I don't just say I'm not coloring things because I don't want to. I want the white to be part of my design. It's an intentional color. It's not a forgetful color. Okay? And that gives you an idea of how you can start with your coloring. But again, I do want you to make that part your own as well. I really can't wait to see what you guys create, sending me photographs, or even if you want to do a quick little video clip where you hold your picture up and talk about the parts that you really enjoy doing, or even letting me know if there are any sections of the drawing that were difficult for you. All right, have a great time. Can't wait to see your